Every few years, football introduces a young player who makes the world stop and watch. Today, that player is Lamine Yamal. At just 17 years old, he has already produced moments that many professionals spend an entire career trying to achieve. Fans cheer every touch, defenders struggle to stop him, and headlines around the world continue asking the same question. Is he the future of football? As excitement grew, one of the greatest managers in football history shared an opinion that sounded very different from everyone else. Pep Guardiola praised Lamine Yamal's incredible ability, but he also gave an important warning. He told people not to rush, not to place impossible expectations on a teenager, and not to compare him with Lionel Messi. At the time, many supporters focused only on Yamal's spectacular performances. Very few stopped to think about why Pep was being so careful with his words. Now, after watching Lamine Yamal continue to develop on some of football's biggest stages, that message deserves another look. Did Pep Guardiola recognize something that many people overlooked? Was he trying to protect one of football's brightest young stars from the pressure that has affected so many talented players before him? In today's video, we'll explore what Pep Guardiola actually said about Lamine Yamal, why his comments mattered, and whether recent events have shown that his advice was more important than many people realized. Before we begin, if you enjoy football documentaries, honest analysis, and the biggest stories from around the game, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next upload. Now, let's go back to the moment when Pep Guardiola shared a message that football fans are starting to understand much more clearly. So, what did Pep Guardiola actually say about Lamine Yamal? The answer is very different from what many headlines suggested. Pep Guardiola never said that Lamine Yamal would definitely become the next Lionel Messi. In fact, he warned people to stop making that comparison. While many fans were excited by Yamal's incredible performances, Pep believed those expectations could place unnecessary pressure on a teenager who was only beginning his professional journey. At the same time, Guardiola made it clear that he admired Yamal's talent. He praised the young Barcelona star for his confidence, intelligence, and ability to make good decisions under pressure. For a player so young, those qualities are extremely rare, and Pep believed they showed why Yamal is one of football's brightest prospects. But Guardiola also reminded everyone that Lionel Messi is unique. His achievements were built over nearly 2 decades of consistency, hard work, and success at the highest level. Expecting any young player to follow exactly the same path is simply unrealistic. That is why Pep's advice was so important. He wanted football fans to enjoy watching Lamine Yamal without asking him to become another Messi. Instead, he believed Yamal should be given the time and freedom to create his own identity and write his own story. Looking back now, it becomes clear that Guardiola's message was never about lowering expectations. It was about protecting an exceptional young talent so he could continue developing without carrying the weight of impossible comparisons. And yet, despite how reasonable that advice sounded, many people were not ready to accept it. So, why did so many fans disagree with Pep Guardiola in the first place? Pep Guardiola's advice sounded sensible, but it did not take long for many people to push back. The reason was simple. Football fans were watching something extraordinary. Every week, Lamine Yamal seemed to produce another unforgettable moment. He was taking on experienced defenders with confidence, creating chances in important matches, and performing with a level of maturity that is rarely seen in someone so young. Naturally, excitement spread across social media, television, and football discussions around the world. Many supporters believed they were witnessing the birth of the next global superstar. Some even felt that comparing him to Lionel Messi was a compliment rather than a burden. In their eyes, Yamal's style of play, his left foot, and his performances for Barcelona made the comparison almost impossible to avoid. The media also played a major role. Headlines calling him the next Messi attracted attention and generated millions of views. Every impressive performance added more excitement, and the expectations around him continued to grow. As a result, Pep Guardiola's warning was often overshadowed by the growing hype. There was another reason many people disagreed. Fans usually judge players by what they see on the pitch today. or one unforgettable tournament. It is measured by consistency, physical fitness, mental strength, and the ability to perform year after year. History gives us many examples of young players who looked destined for greatness but struggled because of injuries, pressure, or unrealistic expectations. Guardiola's experience as a coach taught him that protecting a young talent can be just as important as developing that talent. As time has passed, more football fans have started to understand why Pep chose his words so carefully. His message was never about reducing the excitement surrounding Lamine Yamal. It was about giving him the best possible chance to enjoy a long and successful career. That brings us to an even more interesting question. What makes Lamine Yamal so special that so many people believe he could become one of football's biggest stars? If so many young players have shown promise over the years, then what makes Lamine Yamal different? The answer is not just his talent, it is the way he understands the game. Many young attackers rely almost entirely on speed or skill to beat defenders. Lamine Yamal certainly has those qualities, but what stands out even more is his decision-making. He rarely looks rushed. Even in high-pressure situations, he often chooses the right pass, the right dribble, or the right moment to shoot. That level of composure is unusual for a player of his age. Another impressive quality is his football intelligence. Before receiving the ball, Yamal frequently scans the pitch to understand where his teammates and opponents are positioned. This allows him to react quickly and make smart choices in tight spaces. It is one of the reasons he can create opportunities even against well-organized defenses. His creativity also separates him from many other young players. Sometimes he delivers a perfectly weighted pass that opens up the defense. Other times, he beats a defender with quick footwork or changes direction so smoothly that he creates space where none seem to exist. Because opponents never know what he will do next, he becomes very difficult to defend. Confidence is another important part of his game. Playing for Barcelona and Spain brings enormous pressure, especially at such a young age. Yet Yamal continues to ask for the ball, take responsibility, and stay involved in important moments. That confidence does not come from arrogance. It comes from believing in his preparation and trusting his abilities. Perhaps the most impressive quality is his willingness to keep learning. Coaches and teammates have often praised his attitude, professionalism, and desire to improve. Natural ability can open the door to elite football, but the willingness to learn is often what keeps a player at the highest level for many years. This is exactly why Pep Guardiola spoke so carefully about him. He saw a player with exceptional potential, but he also understood that greatness is built step by step. One brilliant season does not define a career. Consistency over many years is what turns a talented youngster into a football legend. And that leads to the biggest challenge facing every teenage sensation. Talent can take you to the top, but staying there is an entirely different test. After hearing Pep Guardiola's comments and watching Lamine Yamal's rapid rise, one question still remains. Was Pep Guardiola actually right? Looking at everything we have seen so far, there is a strong argument that he was. But probably not for the reason many people think. Pep was never trying to predict that Lamine Yamal would become the next Lionel Messi. He was not making a bold promise about the future, and he certainly was not saying that Yamal had already reached the level of football's greatest players. Instead, his message was much more realistic. He believed that Lamine Yamal possessed extraordinary talent, but he also believed that talent alone is never enough. A long and successful career depends on patience, continuous improvement, good decisions, and the right environment. As Yamal has continued to develop, many of Pep's words have started to make more sense. The young Barcelona star has shown remarkable maturity, delivered outstanding performances in important matches, and played with confidence far beyond his years. At the same time, Barcelona and the Spanish national team have managed his development carefully, allowing him to gain experience while continuing to learn. However, it is equally important not to jump to conclusions. Lamine Yamal is still at the beginning of his career. Football history has shown that greatness is not measured by one excellent season or one unforgettable tournament. The true legends are the players who perform at the highest level year after year, overcome difficult moments, adapt to new challenges, and continue improving throughout their careers. That is exactly why Pep Guardiola encouraged patience from the very beginning. He understood that the biggest danger for a young superstar is not a lack of ability. It is the pressure created by unrealistic expectations. Looking back today, Guardiola's advice seems less like a warning and more like a lesson. Instead of asking whether Lamine Yamal is the next Messi, perhaps football should be asking a different question. What kind of legacy can Lamine Yamal build if he is given the time to become the very best version of himself? That may be the most important point Pep Guardiola was trying to make all along. As we reach the end of this video, let's go back to the question we asked at the beginning. Was Pep Guardiola actually right about Lamine Yamal? Perhaps the biggest lesson was never about predicting the future. It was about understanding that extraordinary talent needs time, patience, and the right environment to grow. Pep wasn't asking football fans to lower their expectations. He was asking them to let a young player develop without carrying the weight of impossible comparisons. Lamine Yamal has already shown why so many people are excited about his future. His skill, confidence, and maturity have made him one of the brightest young talents in world football. But the greatest careers are not judged after one season. They are built over many years through hard work, consistency, and continuous improvement. Now it's your turn. Do you think Pep Guardiola's advice has already been proven right, or do you believe it's still too early to decide? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your opinion. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and press the notification bell so you never miss our next football documentary. And if you found this video interesting, share it with your friends so they can join the discussion too. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.